right, so this is something that most people are actually guilty of, and it's very visible in the indie hacker space on X and Twitter. It's where people want to build multiple projects. They want to see what sticks. I was definitely guilty of this in the beginning when I finished up full time and I wanted to find the next thing. I was like, I'm going to build a new project every 1 month, trying to see what's out there. But you very quickly realize, especially if you take note, it's probably not the right way to do it. And a lot of people are like, well, I just don't have the attention span to sit on one thing for a long time. And guess what? That's why you're not going to make it. This video here by web dev Cody, he's an absolute lord, so not throwing shade, but he's just highlighting the problems. We're going to watch this and react to it. So let's go.
So over the year 2023 and 2024, I was trying to become like an indie hacker. I wanted to build my own SaaS product, and I actually built out a decent amount of side projects and tried to market them on X, make videos about them.
I just want to quickly stop that. First thing that I just noticed, 23, 24, there's only about a year to 2 years there, right? So in the grand scheme, probably not that long of a time.
And try to get some users. But overall, I don't think I've ever found too much success with the indie hacking. And I wanted to make a video that kind of warn others that hey, indie hacking is not something that you just can easily do. A lot of people you see online, like Levels.io or Mark Liu with his starter kit, and they have tons of money that they're making. Or just you're scrolling through this indie hacker space and you see these people making hundreds of thousands of dollars from their application every year. And then you try to build something yourself, you try to emulate their success, and it just never works.
So a few points. Yes, there's definitely a little bit of an echo chamber of people who have made it. But I think like everything, we don't see all the hard work and how long they've actually been working for. You just see the success and then you go, I want to be like that, but you're not willing to put in the effort.
I mean, specifically for those two examples, their primary products, their primary ways of making money are related to the field of selling to developers. So they found success in a niche, and it seems like all their tools now, and I think is Levels.io his biggest one, is finding remote work.
Levels, I think his main stuff is he did photo AI. He's done Levels is actually a bit of an exception. He's got quite a few businesses, but it was remote work, and then he also did the one where you could see. I think the remote work was the main drive. I will have to check.
That was the starter.
Yeah, that was
the one that really took off.
Yeah, he did it. He's been, but also he's been doing it for so long. He's and Mark.
Well, he's probably the same. He's been doing it for a really long time. And there's a flip side to it, which is testing lots of little things is good, but you do have to double down on the things that are working and throw things in the bin. And I think that's probably the part that a lot of the indie hackers are missing. Are they would look at the big MRR, the big amount of money that's being made, and at least from what I've seen from those two, most of the money comes from one or two of the efforts. And there's a lot of wasted energy in the other ones that has been put in, time has been put in, thought has been put in, and it didn't pay off. And finding the right one, obviously, indie hacking is a good way of finding something that works, but at some point you have to stop moving, stop changing, looking at the newest, hottest idea and building something else and really focus on the one thing, or you'll never grow it because you'll look at any of those one things that any of these people have looked at as a failure didn't have to be a failure. It's because they stopped adjusting it, stopped changing it, stopped making new versions of it, stopped looking at that market as a good way to go. And they could have pushed that same product to the same amount of money if they wanted to.
Yep. So just quickly to highlight that point, photo AI from Levels makes $116,000 a month. Interior AI,
that's so good.
Yeah, $41,000. Nomads makes 22, Remote OK makes 32, Levels.io makes 12. He's got his fly.peter.com, which is that fly app, was a little bit of a fly by night, is that game. It was kind of like a in and out. That made 48K a month. I think that's dropped off a little bit. And then he's got a book that makes 13K. So he's spread across a lot of things. Let's keep going.
Whatever you build, it seems like you just can't find the success. And that's something I did over the past 2 years. Is I built Project Planner AI, this project management tool. It has Kanban flows. It has event tracking. It has all this cool stuff in it. It's one of those things where even if you can build it, it doesn't necessarily mean people will come use it. Another application, this is actually the first indie hacking app I built, was this icon generator. This is the application where you can come in here, you can generate an icon. You can pick from all these different types, and then you'll get the icon that you can download and use it for your personal website or something. This wasn't even my idea. I was just scrolling through X and I saw someone post this idea, and I'm like, okay, if he can do it, I can go ahead and do it as well.
Yeah, so I think even just looking at this here, you can see it's like it's a business that you can't actually, you haven't thought about how are you selling it? Like, what is the story behind it? Yes, we know what it can do. It can generate icons, but like, you could use it on your website or something. How about you tell us firstly, like, what is it? And I think by not spending enough time on it, you're not actually drilling into the problem and you're finding the pain points of a user, right? Like, yes, we can all build apps, right? We can all do these things and we can build new project management, but like project management is a saturated space, right? Firstly. So if you're going to enter, how are you better than the previous players, right? You got to be better than that. It's also a big thing to move. So it's very business to business. And if you're just an indie, like you're going to have a tough time competing in that market. If people watch you and see that you don't stick to one project for longer than a month, why are they going to move their entire business to your product? There's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, it looks like those things, at least what he just mentioned there, they are features. You're just building a feature and seeing what happens. You're not actually looking at it from a business lens, because especially now with AI and vibe coding, anyone can put a Kanban onto a page. It's not going to matter for long, like what things you can get up into it, like a production environment. It's going to matter what the actual problem you're solving is, more so than anything. And I don't know what the solution to this icon thing is, but I imagine it's probably for app developers to make an icon fast for their app. How many of them are doing that? How many of them are doing it and don't want the creative control of doing it and won't hire a designer? Like this, the market size of it, how big is it? All of those things are very, like, you've just built a feature, basically. You've built something, and yeah, someone might pay for it, but have you built a long-standing business? Is there a path to turn that into a real business? And that's one of the reasons that it's a good idea to dump these things when you see them not working, but it's also, you could probably find the business case behind this. It would just take pushing through it.
100%.
Well, this has been one of my most successful indie hacking projects. Like, it has 176,000 users. So this is a lot of emails. I could potentially do like a newsletter and sell ad space. I could just try to sell this application. Right now it's making like 300 something dollars a month. But last year I got to like 1,200 revenue every month, and then subtract costs for like the the image generation, which costs some money. So this has been one of my most successful indie hacking project. But if you zoom out, it just doesn't make enough money to like for me to care about it, right? Me making.
So, like right here, this is you've got 176,000 users, right? I don't care about it because it doesn't make enough money. What's the problem here? The problem here is that you haven't
contact them, find out what they were making the icons for, and then figure out how your products can do that thing for them as well and make money from it. Like, whatever it is, if it's game developers, what other thing can the product do that you can charge money for? There's so much opportunity in 170,000 people that you could extract money from. Not just like make a newsletter about icons.
No.
Find out what they're doing, why they're making the icons, find out what else you can sell around that space.
I think you can just see it highlighted here. It's like, it's not exciting. I don't care about it. You've got 176,000 users. That is a mailing list. If you spent money to get that would cost you so much money.
I will buy that, mate. If you want to give it up, I will buy it.
Like, just off the top of my head, and this is probably for our new series that we're going to do, the roast and rotate. But if you look at this app right now, for me as a business, I'm going to say, cool. There's 176,000 people that signed up for this thing and probably paid some money. So he's got paying customers. Now, is this gaming, like Daryl said? Guess what? What other things could you do? For the top of my head, what about sprites? What if this thing generated sprites? So you could come in here and just, because we know AI can do it, and I'm a game dev. I don't really want to go and fiddle with the tools. I just want to come in here and it learns my style. Sprites. What are the upsells you can make? Now, if you're not spending the time, like in the problem, you're never going to find these solutions or answers. So highlighted, I think this, mate, if I was him, this is where I'd be investing my time.
A sponsored video on my channel makes so much more than any of these little side projects I worked on.
Yeah.
And although I truly want to become like an indie hacker, like I want to be a person who owns a SaaS company and a successful SaaS company, it almost feels like a goal that's just not worth pursuing, because you're going to put all this work into building out an application. And unless you are really good at marketing and spend a majority of your time marketing, people are just going to not know about it. And they're also just not going to sign up for it.
Hey everybody, it's Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
That's a good one because most indie hackers probably also come from their day jobs. And it's even harder to become a indie hacker or a business builder when you make a lot of money from your day job. But what's the long term of that? Especially in YouTube space, I imagine it's hard because it is way easier to make money in other ways. But what's the long term there?
Yeah, so I'm just going to let the ad play because I'm a peasant and I keep ads going. But yeah, like this is it's so key. Like it's all about that distraction, right? Like you can't. How do you win at something if you don't go all in on it? You're
Yep.
like, well, my job's better. It's like, so then why? So what's the reason for doing the indie hacking? If you want to actually, if you actually want to run a SaaS company, you need to actually want to run a SaaS company. It's not fun all the time. It's mostly hard.
Most of the
Like
time.
that's why you only see 1% of the people at the top making it. It's not because it's not possible. It's because that it's hard and that only the people that sit there and play. And I love the quote is like, there is really no competition. It's just you fighting shadows and just trying to stay in the longest. In business, it's like whoever stays the longest wins. That's it. Whoever's willing to sit in the uncomfortable place for the longest period of time is going to win, right? As long as you're working and not just sitting there doing nothing. So
Yeah, I wonder if he's wants to do the SaaS thing just because it's the badge of honor to do the SaaS thing, or if he wants to do it because he wants to detach his time from his income. But you've got to make a trade-off at some point where if the YouTube makes heaps of money and you want to do that, employ someone to do the other thing, but to focus on the one thing. Figure out which of your projects is the best, most likely to succeed one, and make it make enough money to support hiring people is the only way to do it. If your primary income, and you do want to build a SaaS platform, your primary income comes from the YouTube, then use that income to pay someone else to do the parts of the job that you can't do on that product, to focus on it 100% and build it into a real business.
and unfortunately that does cost money.
More positive when it comes to like building out these products. But again, I tried like a starter kit. I saw people online making some successful starter kits, making a ton of money. But of course, I went down a different path for revenue. I decided to make like a tutorial video walkthrough. I'm only charging like 25 bucks for it, which has made like a decent amount of money over the past like year or so. But again, it's like every project I create, there's more burden mentally for me to like maintain these
Yep.
things. The code is slowly going out of date. Like I've used Next.js 13 with TRPC with this one, and now I have to come back and like update it because it's becoming so far behind
The
in versions.
updates, we haven't
This is
touched it
like
for a
next
while.
14. I have to come through and update this the next 15.
This is so
That
classic.
sucks when you go back to an old Next project.
This is
Sorry,
so
everything's
classic.
out of date.
This is the problem, right? And I was talking to Daryl about this, and it's because when we're juggling multi-project, you have this problem. It is a real problem. It's like you have multiple dependencies. So say you had 20 dependencies in a project, but now you've got 20 projects. That's 400 dependencies. That's an enterprise application. Like
Yep.
most enterprise apps don't have that many dependencies. Now you're running as a little indie by yourself, trying to maintain that. Like, come on. Like this is the problem with having multiple things. You have multiple. I'm juggling all these people. I'm like, yeah, I'm making it, and it's like you're not. If you had one app and you had 20 or 40 dependencies, those are the ones you manage. You only need to update those. Don't worry about everything else. And like what he's saying now, the mental burden. This is 100% the problem, isn't it?
And it's probably hard to switch them off, even if they're only making a little bit of money. It's hard to switch them off because they're making some money. But then contrast that against the money that can be made from a 1 hour YouTube video. Is it worth you spending 1 hour of time updating dependencies every month? No. So why is it still running? Because it's making 800 bucks a month, and you're like, wait, but it's actually costing me the opportunity cost of one ad sponsor for 3 grand, 5 grand, 10 grand, whatever it is. It's actually costing you a hell of a lot of money to keep them running, even if they are making some money.
You've got to kill them. Unfortunately,
Yep.
if things don't work, you got to kill it. Like if it's not going to do it, just kill it.
This is probably using Next 14 as well. The starter kit is just one more thing I have to like maintain and keep updating. And then I have my personal websites, and then I have like this course platform I'm building. I have all these like random
that's cool.
sites. I also have a game that's
that
not
like
online
3D?
right now, but like I worked on building that game out. And I think what happens if you're an indie hacker is some of the advice that you're going to hear online is like try a bunch of different stuff and get it deployed out there and see if it sticks and see if you start getting customers. And if you do, then that's when you know you should like focus in on building more functionality to it and marketing it more. But you would think that even with my YouTube channel, like I have 200.
Yeah. So I think that's just a straight up fallacy. Hey, that people that they just tell you to, it's just to feed that whole I can be distracted and not worry. I just think about it just logically. Okay, so I build something and I just put it on the internet and I don't talk about it because I'm talking about my next thing. How are people finding that thing and how is it taking off? How does that even work?
Yeah, and there's so many reasons why something doesn't take off or the marketing doesn't hit right, and it's so rarely related to exactly what the product's doing. But if you don't do the work, unraveling the messaging, unraveling the users, and really trying to find them, you're probably just like missing a potential gold mine. And I imagine the examples he gave, was it Mark Liu and Levels, are doing very well in some, and they're doing okay in others. What would their trophy one look like if it was their 100% focus? Because it's probably 10x what that one's doing now, and that's the best one. So it massively outperforms all of the others if you 10x that one versus trying to slightly improve all of the other ones slowly over time. And maybe it's more of like a lifestyle business thing where they enjoy doing that type of work, which is fine. But the best path for the most success is probably just to focus on the one, because any 2x you make on that one makes a lot more difference than making a 300x on the really tiny one that's doing really poorly, and you've just spent all your time thinking about, oh, I haven't updated that in a while, I've got to go do that.
Yeah, it's not even attractive to a buyer. Like, and I understand, like, a lot of people just want to be like, yeah, he makes that much money, and it's like, it's cool and it's good, but it's not, like Daryl said, like, what could that have been, or what could it be? Like, it could be enormous, and then you could sell it, because the thing is, you make the revenue and it's cool and stuff, but it takes a long time for revenue to add up, like even profit. When you can do an exit of a substantial scale, right? Especially in Australia, you're going to get taxed at a different rate first, because it's a capital gain and not
CGT tax
earning. Yeah, so you're going to get a discounted tax, and then you're going to have a massive bucket load of money at one hit that you can then invest and do whatever you want, and then do your next idea. But don't go and try and like have these multiple little ones. Even if they're successful, they're not really successful in the grand scheme. Like if you compare, like those numbers are awesome. I'm not going to take away from them. They're awesome numbers to do it by yourself. It's amazing.
Oh, they're massive accomplishments. Yeah, what would the other one have been?
But he is a one of. He's a one of one. Like that is the thing. But like there's lots of people that build big software companies, right? So let's keep going.
50,000 subscribers, that anything I build could generate a bunch of income. But it turns out that that is just not the case. Like even with building educational courses, I know there's people out there who have made like over $500,000 selling a course for like $150 or $250. But it seems like whenever I try to do stuff, maybe I just suck at doing stuff and I suck at marketing, or just my products aren't good. But whenever I try to emulate the success that I'm seeing on social media, I just can never get it over that line of like making it worth doing.
Yeah. So
he's got one key component of being a proper founder: doubting yourself. That's
yeah. So
complete self-doubt.
Perfect
Job.
Nailed the brief. So you got that one, that trait. No, but like honestly, you can look at I think this is they say it's the comparison is the thief of all joy, right? So it's like you're comparing to everyone else who's made it, and you don't know what they've done. Like I know that the course creators spend a heap of money on Facebook ads. How much money are you spending on Facebook ads? Like, and now by drilling into, like Daryl said, the users and stuff, you need to go and make ads that target the perfect user. If you're not spending the time in that app, how are you going to find your perfect user? You're not.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the same for the course platform stuff, right? Yeah. They're not just overnight successes because of the content of the course or because of the size of the audience. It's the work that's done around it, which you don't see.
Yep, and you keep iterating the course and you keep iterating the ads. Let's be honest, it's all about the ads. Like a $25 course, maybe too cheap. Maybe you should be spending, it's a $250 course, it looks more premium, but you're not going to figure that out if you don't put it in time.
Because I will be honest, all the different applications I built, I have learned so much along the way, and I have generated, a little bit of side income from these, but just keep a realistic mindset that like, these are just side projects for me. I work full time. So I have a full-time income coming in. Like I get a paycheck every 2 weeks. And that paycheck by far is way more than any of these. Like,
stop it there. So he's a YouTuber, like a very successful YouTuber, also a full-time job, and also does these side projects.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. He shouldn't be so hard on himself.
Brother, this is what I'm saying. He is a lord. He is doing it. But what I am seeing here is that you take all that energy and you funnel it right, because let's be honest, he could work on one project. He could also keep making YouTube videos about that one project, because he makes videos about all the projects.
He does like dev tutorials, I'm guessing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So all of these things would also have the benefit of teaching him, and then he teaches, which it's all feeding into the YouTube. Yeah.
and his core audience are wanting to build as well. So if he's building a real business and actually talking about the real problems, he's actually going to have a big audience to watch and just eat that up, right? So I'm just seeing so, like, the fact that you spooled up 10 different projects is absolutely amazing in itself. What if you spent 10 and polished one?
Yeah, or
That would
10 really good features inside the one user. I guess the key is finding the user group that will spend money from your audience and then making something that they really need.
Little side projects that I work on. Additionally, I have a YouTube channel. That is my second side hustle that brings in the most revenue, right? I could do a sponsor video and it makes more from one video than like all these projects revenue combined over the past like 2 years. And so once in a while, I kind of just like get discouraged and I'm like, this is just not worth doing. And then I realize, like, watching all these other indie hackers, like, I don't think they're married. I don't think they have kids. They don't have responsibilities. So they can literally just spend all their time, 8 hours a day, like hacking and building and shipping and seeing if it works, versus me. I have to work full time to keep my life insurance and my health insurance and all this other stuff and to keep, a roof over my head. And so I don't have much time after work
life.
to actually work on these side projects. So I can never actually take them to that next level, because I think taking them to the next level requires a ton of time marketing.
I mean, to be fair, we all have families and all that stuff. Had full-time jobs. And the funny thing is, a full-time job takes X time, but you do have that time to make up. So you can see that he has time because he's built 10 different apps.
Yep.
Like we're saying, you have time, you have less time. You may have less time than them. Sure, you do. But funnel that time into one thing and you watch the difference. I think.
Yeah. I mean, you're breaking down 24 hours minus 8 hours for good sleep, minus 7.5, 8 hours for work if you don't have any travel time, minus 4 hours for kids, minus 5 hours for everything else you have to do in life. And then splitting your 1 hour, half an hour, however much time you can dedicate a day across 10 projects. What's going to happen?
This is where you're going to end up.
Building up a newsletter, promoting it on different social media platforms. And in all honesty, like, who has all that time? Like, no one has that time. But I think at the very end of last year, like, I just reached a breaking point where it's like, I can't keep trying to do all these projects. Like, I just can't juggle them all. I can't keep maintaining them. I can see the code is slowly like becoming rotted. I don't have time to maintain all this stuff. So my advice, if you're trying to become an indie hacker and you work full time, you don't really have that much side project time. Honestly, I think the best goal is to pick one thing, because that's one of my issues. I could jump around from different projects and try different stuff. And I feel like I have some type of like inability to stay focused at time. I don't know if it's ADHD, undiagnosed ADHD, but my main advice to you is like pick one.
I'm going to stop that just there. If that's ADHD, every single human being has ADHD, because no one wants to sit and do the same boring work where it feels like nothing's happening every single day for years. That's the problem. And it's like you solve one problem and you get another one. And the funny thing about software and any business is that they all boil down to the same thing. In the end of the day, if you pull it out to the biggest scale, guess what you're doing? You're managing people. You're trying to build a team. You're trying to fix the problems the team are having. You're not coding anymore, which sucks. I can tell you that much. It sucks. But it's just the reality of it. It's not about, I'm ADHD, I want to jump to another project. Everyone wants to do it. It's the whole temptation, because what you see is you go, that idea will be so sick, but you don't know the problem that idea has.
Yeah.
Like,
because your current idea, you're like, it's going to be too hard to fix this one. I'll just do another one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you get to the same, and like Hormozy talks about, you get to the same boss every time, and like you get better and better at getting to the boss because you know the level, but then you hit the same thing. It's like, what in this instance is marketing. So obviously the biggest problem is marketing. So now it's like, okay, well, I need to address marketing. Marketing sucks. It's boring. If you don't like it, it sucks. You have to do it. And if you're not spending all your time, like, just do that one thing. So what he's just said is perfect. Like, I think you should focus on one thing. Yes, that's exactly what we're saying. So let's keep going.
One thing and just keep trying to build it out for like a while. I know there's advice from like big indie hackers like Levels.io who basically tries to say build a new project every month and get it out there and see how it works. but it's very hard, and I'd be hesitant to follow advice from Levels because he already has a giant cult following. And anything he makes, like people are going to load up and try and probably
Yeah.
just buy. For example, that flight simulator game, I think he's making over like 40,000 a month from sponsorships and ads. Again, I don't know if this is actually true or if he just makes stuff up, but if it is true, the only reason it is generating that much revenue is because he has that giant following behind him. He's already like a person, he's a figurehead,
Yeah.
and you can make a lot of money if you have a well-known name or brand.
Yeah.
And so you'll look at these people and be like, oh, I want to be like them. But honestly,
But something to be key here is you can build a very big brand, but you only get a couple of times to burn that brand. Like if you build a crappy product and promote it as yourself, you only get a few times. Put it that way. So
Yeah.
you do it 3 times. Like that guy only makes crap. So I'm not interested in anymore. Okay.
Yeah. I guess the thing that Levels did that was smart there on the plane one is now that he has such an audience, that's where the advertisers will go where the eyeballs are.
Mhm.
So he's moved into a model where like paying for advertising makes perfect sense, and it's probably not a long-term thing that people aren't going to keep playing the game. But he knew that advertisers will do it just to be part of the hype
Yep.
cycle of it, and
100%.
then it'll die off and it'll be fine.
It's already
Anyone
died.
else launching that would have just like launched a flight sim game, and it would have been like, cool, dude, and no one would pay for it.
Oh yeah, 100%. So like that's definitely a true call out there. But like people are already saying on Twitter, like, what happened to the Vibe gaming era? Are we over it? And this is the thing. It's the
Everyone's
attention
attention
thing.
span is so short.
It's done. And Levels are like, yeah, because the AI can't do it any better. It gets to a certain point, and then we can't get better. So he's like, now we're waiting for the tools to get better. So it's like,
Okay.
cool.
you could probably build the same products that they built,
Yeah.
get it out there, and you will not get
Yep.
the views or the
Oh, sorry,
momentum that
mate.
you think you're going to
You said
get.
what you
If
said
you don't
before.
have that following already who can help slingshot it to the next level. I think also in this indie hacking space, there's just a bunch of snake oil salesmen who are
Yes.
trying to sell you shovels
Mhm.
to help you achieve your dream of becoming like the next big indie hacker, when in reality, like you're just not going to be. Right. You're just not going to be, unless you're someone who can just like live in, you don't have to pay for like rent, you don't have to pay for electricity. Then yeah, maybe you can, just put all your effort and time into these side projects and you can start growing them off the ground and make a decent revenue. But for a majority of us, the ones who have to like actually work full time because we have responsibilities and like stuff we have to pay for, it is just not a possibility. I think it's just a more difficult goal, right? It's just a lot more difficult for us to achieve. And the last thing I would ever recommend, especially in this economy, is to quit your job to try to become like a indie hacker and make it big, because
Yeah. So don't do that.
Oh,
Don't quit your job to just start an idea with zero traction. Probably not a good idea. Let's be honest. It can. Do you know what? It could create a lot of pain. Fire.
it can drive you. Yeah.
It can drive you if you know, like, if you have a deadline, because some people need that. Some people need that. It's like that hyperbolic time to chamber where it's like, you're going to fight Freezer and
Yeah.
you need to get the reps in, and you know that that's coming, and my money's running out, so I have to make this happen. But I've seen it create a lot of stress too. And like, if you have a good
I think in general it will fail more often than it will succeed, and you only see the successes, and only 1 in 100 people that fail talks about their failures. So just
Yep. You can, and the funny thing is, there is so much time outside of your job to build. And the thing is, if you're smart about how you work at your job, you can learn a lot of stuff that you can then apply, like skills that you're learning. Just be real, like you're already standing above everyone if you're just trying to learn new skills. Like learn how to run a business, because all of this stuff comes down to, it's not about building an app, it's about building a business. They're very different.
Yeah.
Being a software engineer at a company and just implementing features all day is very different to running a business. Like there are so many moving parts.
Like, just be realistic. And I think following certain people on social media, like for example, I don't even go on X anymore. I don't like the platform. I don't like, the owners of the platform, but I also just don't like the idea of me scrolling and seeing people with like these huge successes of all the revenue they're generating. And then I look back at all my projects and I'm like, dude, I haven't really achieved much. So I know this has been kind of a negative, pessimistic talk, and I don't want to discourage you from becoming an indie hacker. I just want you to have a realistic expectation
Yeah.
of like, it's going to be a lot of work.
Mhm.
And I would not put all your eggs in the indie hacking bucket, because it's only like the success stories you see online.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of people that I know tried to become indie hackers, and like they keep trying to build new projects and like promote them and market them, and they get no users. So I don't know. I guess leave a comment about what you think about the whole indie hacking scene. Again, I would love to make one successful SaaS product. It's just like, I don't know if I have the time or the energy to do it. but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to
Yeah,
try
boy.
to build out one more idea that I have in the back of my head. And then I'm going to try to stick with it until I can actually get like a decent amount of monthly subscriptions. Because these other things, I just don't think they're really going to go anywhere. Anyway, I'm open for advice. If you guys have advice for me, let me know. Have a good day. Happy coding.
My
Yeah.
advice is don't build a content management platform for YouTubers. Stay away from our business.
Look, I think that overall very good. Like it's just the facts, right? He's facts, and he's figured it out himself.
I thought from the title it was going to be someone who didn't know what they were doing. But yeah, he knows everything. He knows all the problems. I wouldn't be so hard on yourself if you're running. How many subs does he have?
254,000.
It's so crazy to me that someone can be doing like having such an impact on people's lives in one area and then still look at that as the primary focus of like, I'm not good enough over here. I guess it's true of everyone. They always look at the things that aren't going so well and not the things that are going so well. But he's clearly doing very, very, very well at the things that he's applying himself to.
Yes, I'm excited to see what he does. So like if he does the one project, I think he really needs to focus on his weaknesses. Like he can obviously build software. He needs to find good ideas, but he needs to do that by finding a small handful of users and working with them. Going to business, don't try and make products for indies. This is, I think a lot of people make this problem. They're like, I'm going to make a tool for an indie. And guess what? An indie has no money, bruh. An indie has no money. They're like, you just described them. They don't have money. So why would you build for them? Don't build for them. Build for people who have money. Rich people pay rich people money. And then guess what? Even better, businesses, because businesses are like, oh, that thing costs $2,000. Does it save me $2,000 worth of time? Yes, done. Cool, sign, let's go. But they want something that's like, you are all in on that thing. They're going to ask those questions. They're going to say, is this all you do? You go like, nah, I've got like 50 things. It's like, nah, not for me. So your identity needs to become the product you are selling. Because what happens also that people don't understand is when you focus on one thing, that's all you think about. So when you're walking, when you're doing whatever you need to do, all you think about is, so for us, it's like Clipflow. How can we fix this? How can we fix this? Who do we need to talk to? How do we market? Like, that's what you're thinking. And when you think like that, it's very hard to fail because you know, if you do something wrong, you can fix it because you're talking to your users, you're building, you keep building on top of yourself. But if you don't, like we've been doing Clipflow for over a year now, almost approaching a year and a half. And like, we're only just getting started. So how do you build this in a month? Like, what does Clipflow in 1 month's work look like? A piece of crap.
Yeah.
Like, so just find one thing, stick to it, and go hard. And you can do it. It is possible. It's no one wants to do it. So that's why most people fail.
Sweet.
Sorry, guys.
Good vid.
See you later.
Nice motivational vid.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah.
On whatever day it is for you today, on current day.
Yeah. Keep grinding.
Peace.
All right.